then all residential, and then you get to another highway.
Okay. So, like to open this the council meeting on September 18th, 2024. We're starting at 6 p.m. And I'd like to acknowledge that this meeting is taking place in Mi'kma'ki, the traditional ancestral territory of the Mi'kmaq people. We are live streaming the meeting on the Town of Annapolis Royal YouTube channel. To those present in the gallery, and we have one person with us today, by attending the public meeting of the council, you are consenting to having your image, voice, and comments recorded. Anyone who's invited to speak will be recorded, and their voice, image, and comments would form part of the live stream. The chair of the CAO have the discretion and authority at any time to direct the termination or interruption of live streaming, which we've never done. Such direction will only be given in exceptional circumstances where deemed relevant. So that is that. All the meeting order. We have all members of council present except for Holly Sanford, who sent her regrets. We have no additions to the agenda unless I hear different. So if there are no changes to the agenda, we'll approve it with one exception. Under new business, you can strike 10.4. 10.4 does not need to be dealt with. So hearing no changes, the agenda is approved with that single change. The same thing with the council minutes of July 17th, 2024. If there are no errors or omissions, they will be approved by unanimous consent. So those are approved. And now we come up with an item of business, which is the second reading and passing of the provision of taxation bylaw 200. So this is the second reading of that bylaw. And we've heard back from the town that there were no
submissions received by email or in person.
So hearing none, there's a motion. We'll entertain a motion.
I move that council approve the second reading and passing of the provision of taxation bylaw number 200 dated June 2024.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. And then we'll move on to the consolidated financial statements presentation.
So that it's not a presentation. But Melanie is here.
Melanie is here and
Beth's here for the questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll entertain motion before we begin discussion. So if somebody would like.
I'll make a motion. The council accept the 2023-2024 financial statements as prepared and presented by the auditors.
And do we have a seconder?
I will second that.
Okay. So now it's open for discussion. Is there any discussion?
Me and Paul already ran through this earlier today.
Right.
Just so.
Yeah, so the audit committee met
So it's
and reviewed.
Yeah,
No specific questions, but are there any highlights that you kind of want to touch on? Because it's a big report.
The statement.
Question. Sorry. Go ahead, Beth.
There's nothing specific. I mean, the statements of the whole are large. They are multiple pages of information there. The first section being the consolidation of the entity entirely. And then there's subsequent notes that kind of explain the accounting policies and different information contained in the statements. And then the subsections at the back are each individual fund. And those tend to be more useful for council and management purposes. But no, the audit was concluded and we've have a clean audit report attached to the statements. And there's indicating that we're not aware of any material misstatements in these financial information.
So I sent in my questions ahead of time. So one of my questions was about the rate of return at page 15.
Mm-hmm.
And so what was it for 2024 and 2023?
So I took out, there was a little confusion with the hyphens versus the negatives, so I've removed those in the most recent copy provided. Second here. So the current year, 2024, there is a negative rate of return because there was a loss in the water utility operating fund. And in 2023, it was 0.44 positive.
And that was positive.
Yes.
Okay. That was the question on that one. And then page 17, if you don't mind just explaining page 17.
So this schedule, we as auditors struggle with this one because it is a requirement from the Public Sector Accounting Standards Boards that they're included in these statements. Many clients and entities in the public sector don't necessarily find it overly useful. I hate to say that, but it's a required schedule. And what they're trying to provide information is the revenue and expenditures by segment versus by fund. So it's an exercise between Melanie and ourselves that we try to allocate the revenues amongst different segments of the organization and then the corresponding expenses for each department. But it's, I'm not sure that anybody takes it to heart and uses it for any management purposes. But it does in total compare and agree with the consolidated figures. So it's not.
But you're right, for the public, it's extremely confusing.
Oh, 100%. The year they implemented that, we just shook our heads because the statements are so large as it is. So adding additional schedules, it has become cumbersome. But unfortunately, our regulators come and inspect our work. And then if these items aren't included, we get in trouble for it. So
No, I totally understand. So it's something you have to do. So that was it for me. Any other questions? Doesn't sound like we have any.
No.
So we have a motion on the floor. Are you ready for the question?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Thank you. And so we're on to a section on public input and we have a member of the public here. So thanks so much,
can I just
Beth,
say
for
good
coming
evening?
in.
And I'm going to dismiss now. Have a nice evening. Thank you.
Appreciate you being here. Thank you and thanks,
Beth.
Neil. And thanks to audit committee.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so now we're on to our section on public input and you have the floor, Ally.
Oh, all right. No, it sounds like you already know everything that I would want to say. But my biggest concern is for us to actually do something and not to say, oh my, yes, it's a problem. Because I think it's become a very serious problem for our town. I certainly have described in detail in my memo about how hard it is to grow a garden in town without them eating it all up before it begins. They nibble my roses, they take all the tops of all the box, they've taken the nasturtiums, they've taken off my new milkweed plants, they've taken my beans. I mean, it's almost impossible to really grow a good garden in our town unless you put a big fence around it, and I can't put a big fence around my property. It's inappropriate, and I've tried everything I know, like lights and sounds and mothballs and soap and so forth. I even go out and scare them, but they don't get scared, they just look at me. So, and I know, as you know, how many people, you just were talking about it, how many times people have had deers running in front of them. I have had so many friends who've had to have cars repaired. And I'm sure we could document that if we wish to. And I know other towns have had similar problems. I know other towns have found ways to deal with it. For me, the most obvious way would be to get in touch with the reserve and have them come with bow and arrows in the evening, locate the where they stay and quietly take the meat away for themselves. That, for me, is the most obvious. Now, I know, of course, how near and deer are, baby deer and mother deer and majestic deer are to us. But it's become, we have to put that aside. So I'm here really to just try to do something to ensure we take action about something about it with regard to it. Is there any more you would like to hear from me?
No, this was your opportunity to address your concerns, Ellie.
Yeah,
And we
that's
just have the letter that was sent in, so
Right.
you have that.
right. All right, so if you have that already,
Mhm.
I don't think there's any more I want to address. I'm just emphasizing.
Yes.
And I'm glad that you clearly all understand.
Mhm.
So I will thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So moving to the election update.
So before we go on, now that the actual complaint sent in, is something that staff will be looking at.
It's on the agenda under correspondence for your discussion and direction.
Okay, so unto unfinished business, and we don't have any. Under new business, we have the election update candidates. The information was sent in by staff. Everybody received it?
Yes.
No.
So we
So
have,
update.
sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry, no.
So we have 2 candidates for mayor, as you know, and we have 6 candidates for council. Training for the elected for the nominees will be tomorrow and Friday. And we have the polls open October the 10th at 9 a.m. And we're still enumerating people. People were late to call to see if they were on the list of electors. And I think today we enumerated 2 more people. So everything's going smoothly. It's busy. It's
So you
our
said the-
first council election since 2012.
So that's good. And did you say training was tomorrow and Friday?
Tomorrow at 11:30, and for those that can't make it, it's Friday at 11:30 as well. Some can't make
Okay.
either, so there's a recording of it.
Yeah, thank you for that. Okay.
Did we, is the item on the open house
A meet and greet
meeting?
No, we'll talk about that later.
later on in this meeting.
Okay,
All right.
And I would just wanna confirm that it's all virtual, right? There's no
Yeah.
paper ballots, so
All virtual.
on the phone, on the computer.
Yep. And in exceptional circumstances, you will be able to vote in here at town hall. If you have no other avenue to vote.
But it will be electronic when you come.
It will still be electronic. It'll be on a touchscreen iPad.
Yeah,
So the polls open only a few weeks away from now,
October the 10th.
October the 10th, and I am being asked if there will be a meet and greet. So is there a reason we can't talk about that?
it hasn't been decided yet.
By who?
Us, staff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Is that a staff decision or a council decision?
It's not a council can't be involved.
Oh, right. Okay.
And the
Understood.
returning officer also can't be involved.
Right, okay. Okay. But there
It
will
has to be
be,
fair for all candidates. Right, so you can't show any favoritism or anything, so it has to be a unanimous thing that everybody can attend.
right, okay, so there will be a decision made soon if there is going to be, and when and where and that kind of thing.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
Okay. On to WCB rates for 2025.
Okay, so that's me as well. So usually if you have a report and WCB has informed me a couple weeks ago that their system is down, they can't generate them, they can't even email them. So just to let you know, I mean, they will eventually get them to us. But they do have, I think they had to be out by the end of August. So the Annapolis Rural Police Department is going to $4.32. That's down 92 cents from the current rates. And that's effective January 1st, of course, and other municipal operations. So that would be everybody but the police. So municipal and public works is up 3.8, to 3.18. And right now it's 3.04. So usually they'd come via letters, but WCB is down to their system glitch. I guess, yeah, they're mandated to have the numbers out by September 1st. So there you have the numbers. So one is going down and one is going up. And
That
the
sounds
industry,
good.
for municipal operations, the industry went up. That's the only reason it went up. It's like CPI for WCB.
Is this based on 1,000 of payroll, the rate?
Sorry, what was that?
Is the rate based on a $1,000 per $1,000 of payroll?
100.
Or per hundred of
Is it
you.
per
Per
100,000?
100, yep. It's good to see the
Yeah,
blues
the
going down
Bleeds
because right
going
now
down,
it's
yes.
524.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay. So, anything else on that?
That's all I have for that.
Okay, so that's great. So thanks for joining us, Melanie.
You're welcome. Good night.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good night.
And now we're on to PHAC, tab 4, and you have a nominee. Everybody get a chance to look at the information submitted?
Yes.
Okay,
With a motion,
yeah, we do.
council approve the appointment of Rod Whale to the Planning and Heritage Advisory Committee for the term ending December 31st, 2024.
I will second that.
One for the question, all in favor?
Aye.
He's certainly interested in history, he really is. Okay, great. And then we'll move on to recommendations from committees, boards and commissions. So starting with committee of the whole, who's going first?
I'll go first. I move that council approve the town of Annapolis Royal contribution of $2,231 out of the $59,493 budget with the County of Annapolis and the town of Middleton for an economic development coordinator for the area.
Second.
Is there any discussion on that?
Yeah, big deal.
All
Yeah,
in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Thank you. Okay.
That council matched the fund contribution of $205,439 from the operating reserve for paving fund received from the municipally owned trunks and routes cost share program for the fiscal year of 2024-2025. This will amend the 2024-25 operating budget to reflect additional funds coming in at $410,878 with an additional expenditure of $410,878.
I will second that. Well done.
Discussion? Any
That's a
discussion?
good one.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Next,
The council appoint Danny Young as the Occupational Health and Safety OH&S representative for the term ending December 31st, 2024.
I'll second that.
ready for the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
So the next motion is deferred till October.
The
Yes,
motion has to be made, yeah,
Should we make it?
yes.
Okay.
just to defer the motion.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I move that council approve the fee schedule as recommended effective January the 1st, 2025. $130 for one session per week, $65 half year where offered, $160 for two sessions per week, $80 half year, $200 for three sessions a week, $100 half year.
It's a deferral until October 2, 2024, right?
Right, to be deferred until October
Yes.
2nd.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second that.
And further discussion, all in favor?
For deferring it?
Just for deferring it.
Yes, I vote
Aye.
in favor of deferring it.
Yes.
And I, motion carried, thank you. And would that also defer the fines and fees policy?
No.
No, okay.
Right, sorry, why are we deferring it? Just curious.
Councillor Hefty asked to defer it.
That's Sanford.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, because she wasn't in.
She wasn't here to vote.
Yeah. Okay, next,
The council approved the fines and fees policy number 2024-11 dated September the 2024.
I'll second that.
Further discussion? Ready for the motion? Ready for the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Yes.
The council approved the appointment of Sheila Redden Smith to the Accessibility Advisory Committee for the term ending December 31st, 2024.
This is seconder.
I'll second.
Okay, ready for the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next.
I move that council approve the communication policy 2024-12 dated September 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Now, the next motion should be reworded because it would be, the motion would be that the applicant at 324 be given heritage approval. So I would just suggest that it's not that council approve the applicant, that the applicant be given a heritage approval. No big deal. Is somebody prepared to make the motion?
The council approve the,
No, I'm moving council approve. So the motion would be that the applicant be given heritage approval.
okay. I'm making the motion so that the applicant at 324 St. George Street be given heritage approval to install a windows sign and a projecting wall sign as detailed in the application 24-25-HER, providing the requirements of the land use bylaw are met.
I will second that.
So this was brought up at PHAC. Sandy, did you want to talk about that? No, okay. So this is going to be at the location for the new coffee shop. And it's a window sign and a projecting wall sign for Di Valerio's.
So it meets all the bylaws of signage.
Yeah, there was just one little thing. I think Ken was going to go back and make a suggestion because they had on the little sample, they put the address on the sign for the swinging sign. So it was just suggested that maybe the address is not required on the sign because people are already there anyway. They know the address because they're actually at the location.
It's redundant.
Yeah, it's kind of redundant. It was just going to be a suggestion.
Unless it's a delivery guy coming down the street looking for 324.
I think the civic number is actually on the building itself. I don't know. It was just a suggestion. So I don't know what the outcome of that conversation was, but it was approved at the PHAC level. I was recommended, yeah.
Question on the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, my turn.
And the same deletion, not the council approved, but the applicant. Anyway, suggestion.
Okay, the applicant at 204 St. Anthony Street be given heritage approval to change the window layout in the front of the property, restoring the original arrangement with vinyl windows matching all others and detailed in the application AR 24-26-HER, providing the requirements of the land use bylaw are met.
I'll second that.
Now, there was, under the analysis, staff recommends that the addition of the solar panels would not compromise heritage value. I sent that question through to Ken today, because the application did not appear to deal with solar panels, just with windows.
Yeah, it was just a mistake on his part.
Okay, so
So the motion that is read is correct.
the analysis that's down there should be scrapped, right, in the report? So, ready for the question?
Well, I
Just
just
want
want
to
to,
explain it.
yeah, so at PHAC as well, it was noted that right now there's a very large picture window. And that the original window layout was actually two separate windows, so it's reverting back to the way it always was. So that's a good thing. There was some concern about the white vinyl window and how that looks. But then it was also discussed that, these heritage homes need to be maintained and looked after and lived in. And the vinyl windows, for the most part, is the only option. So the homeowners are just going with what's available to them on the market. And that's why they have the white ones. So it was just more personal opinion.
Matches the two white ones up above.
Right, exactly. So, yeah.
So ready for the question? All in favor?
Um,
Aye. Motion carried. Okay, under reports. There you have my report. The only change there is that the INSA meeting that we thought was scheduled for September 18th did not happen today, and we did not know until this morning. but there was a fire at Valley Waste,
Hmm.
the recycling depot. It's quite serious fire, no damage to persons. But anyway, they're just to let you know that that's creating rather big disturbance.
Hmm.
And we'll be getting more on that later, I'm sure. So that was it from my report. Oh, and you've got the CAO's report next.
Yeah, can I just ask a question to our CAO? So exciting about the internet?
Yes.
Is that going to be installed at the end of the month, or are they just running the lines?
So the fiber up was installed last week and we switched it over yesterday. So town hall is now on fiber.
That's great. And you're
Yeah.
noticing an improvement?
There's a few things that we're going through, so some of the kinks are still getting worked out. For some reason, all of the emails coming from the town of Milton are getting blocked. But that's not a fiber thing, it's a security wall, something, so, yeah, so slowly we're getting switched over.
Okay. I know that there's other businesses in Middleton right now that their internet was down today.
Yeah, and it's, no,
So,
yeah.
no, that's got nothing to do with it. And the other question I had is, I don't know whether you have the answer, but I noticed that the parking spaces at the top by the O were coned off on Saturday morning for a wedding. It just led to confusion within the community because our parking is limited, as we all know. And I was just suggesting that if there's a way that we could put a little sandwich board out next time, just giving a heads up that this is why they're coned off. And I think if people had have known it was for a wedding, that wouldn't, I received a number of complaints over the weekend, you know, why was this happening? We didn't know about it, why? But I think if people knew the reason, they'd be less inclined to complain. So it's just a suggestion, if we could maybe put a little note out for when those parking spaces are reserved for a special event or something. So that's it.
And I had a question too. You mentioned the summer student who's completed the term, but that's a big part of the position is the Friday night music.
Mhm.
So I guess what comes out of that?
Well, if we don't get a summer student, then the Friday night music will be
Okay, so that's
definitely
what you were
impacted.
saying with that. Okay, great, good. That's what I wondered. Okay, thank you.
Is there any update with regards to the public works tendering the truck?
No, we were waiting until fall to put that out, yeah,
So it's still in works, but it's just not yet.
because it's very helpful for the garbage with the amount of garbage that goes through in the summertime. So they're waiting until, they'll probably put it in October.
Okay. We'll just-
Seems to be well used.
And you have the planning report? Nice number. Year to date number looks good.
Yeah.
Anything else on that? Water report looked good at 12. And Councillor Sanford did send her reports in. Any questions? No, she didn't send a report in. I apologize. Of course, she's not here to give a report.
So
Anybody
for
else?
marketing and economic development, we are having our business roundtable on Monday at the Legion at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
So I think that's,
Yeah, that's gone. That's great. Yeah. We're done. And then we have planning and heritage advisory, anything from that? We don't have Councillor Sanford.
but we have both of the applications were in the package, so.
Exactly, yes,
I think there's
nothing else. So,
Okay, next is Board of Police and the deputy mayor.
Okay, so we met this morning. So there's like no report coming out on that one. The review of the expenses was covered and there wasn't no anomalies on that, other than there was one line item that was up because of purchase of equipment, like the new guns. So there was a review of everybody's trip to Sydney.
Because we had the police conference there.
Yeah, and it was actually, the comments coming back from Sandy and the chief and Roy were actually very interesting, especially with regards to well, the biggest one for me was the Quebec presentation for their police force in the provincial. I guess it's provincial policing, isn't it?
Yeah, Surete,
Sûreté du Québec,
correct.
the Sûreté du Québec.
Yeah, so I get, and just ongoing revisions and reviews from the Justice Department that are coming out very, very, very soon, so. That's basically covers what we could discuss about with,
Yeah.
anything I missed?
It was described to me as a very slow-moving file.
Yes,
Yes.
well, but when it hits, it's gonna be
The big,
A big
Big
hit,
one.
yeah.
financially as well, a
Yeah.
big financial hit, I'm guessing it's gonna be a big financial hit.
So the training committee is interesting because the terms of reference have not been agreed upon. And there are important differences of opinion, but just to let you know that the committee's working through them, but not unusually, there are different ways of going at this, so one of the differences of opinion is whether or not the students should be included under twinning. So it's just a matter of them, you know, as a committee coming to grips with all the competing views and coming to something to recommend to council. Just let you know they're working on it, there's discussions back and forth, and there will be something, I'm sure, some time. Hopefully before applications have to start going in November and December. So, but there's still time. Okay, library report, and so Councillor Maria.
Library board meets tomorrow night.
Okay. That makes it easy.
I've read my briefing package. I'll just say that the town books being taken out from the library is down considerably.
Oh, what's happened?
I don't know, because
Okay.
everywhere else it's up.
That's unusual.
It is. That
Can't be a book ban.
really strong.
Yeah.
Because everybody's been out gardening and traveling, maybe they haven't had time to read.
They've been using the internet at the library though,
Okay.
in really good numbers.
Okay.
And the book sale is still going on, they're starting to collect, I think the Friends of the Library are
Or they're going to be collecting
Yeah,
books for the
starting.
November set.
And all my PD James books, I'm going to part with. Yes.
Oh,
If I won't read something again, it's going. So I'm parting with PD James. I'm just putting it out there. Anybody
James
want-
is good.
Okay. And traffic flow advisory is also Councillor Ware.
We did meet. Maybe not since July.
Yeah, because we were all at the conference, well, 2 out of the 4 people were at the
Yes.
conference.
We had good reason for not meeting.
Gotcha. So for the IMSA interim board, the interim board is producing now these minutes specifically for council members. So they produced one on Valley Waste and one on Kings, which I find really useful because I don't need to report if they're reporting. And the good news is that when I checked the audit report, the surplus funds that are to be transferred from Valley Waste, 15393, it was in the town's audit, so that had been captured. But these minutes are great because it means as long as they're producing these, I don't need to say anything at meetings, so they will be featured in future. So, okay, that's that. And then we're on to the Environment Committee.
You've got all of my reports in your
We've got
package.
the reports,
Mhm.
yes.
Yep. Conduct
I missed that committee. And I have my package printed and everything.
Oh, well,
Failure to show up is what happened.
noted in the
Completely
minutes.
distracted. So the terms of reference for the Nova Scotia Coastal Plan Working Group are being discussed, and it's very technical, it's very complicated. It's gonna take time for the work committee to deal with that. What a miserable task to give them.
Yes.
Anyway, thanks for your report.
And maybe we should just mention that we are gonna do a climate change conference.
Yes.
Not sure it's called a conference on November 2nd.
Oh, I didn't know what well, we haven't arranged a date
Oh,
yet.
yes, that's the date.
Is it?
Yes, that was the
Okay.
date that was suggested and we've got it all booked.
Oh, great.
Which is great.
And is it gonna be at the Academy Gym?
Correct.
And then the meeting rooms downstairs as well for workshops?
Everything, yeah.
Okay.
So that's like a
It's all
starting process, like
Yeah.
they're just starting it, but
right.
good information that if anybody has
Mhm.
some input or something we'd like to see that we're working on one.
I'm really happy with the sidewalk cleanup. I'll be volunteering. I
Yes,
hate cigarette butts all over the place.
I know, and trash as well, so it's a good way for the community volunteers to get out.
Great, it's wonderful, yeah. Okay, thanks for that report, and you also included the Friends of the Annapolis Pool Society.
Yeah, so you'll notice the pool's full of water. The crew, Wrecker Vinyl, and the crew from that company have been amazing, working solid during their time here in town to get that liner installed. It was a big job and they did it so well. They're just waiting for these skimmers to be installed. There was some issue with the skimmers, so they've been traced. They've sourced skimmers from Spain and they're coming. It's been quite a production, but they managed to find skimmers that fitted what we needed. So they're arriving. So once they're in place, then the pump will be running. Has to run for 30 days in order to know that there's no deficiencies in the liner. And then the whole contract is finished. So yeah,
That's
I'll
great
keep you
news.
updated.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay. And we go on to accessibility committee, and I'm going to say there was no quorum, therefore no meeting. But we do have a new member, so we look forward to a future meeting. So the next meeting, I guess, will be in the minutes.
Oh, and I forgot to mention the condo AGM is the September 26th at 6 o'clock.
Condo AGM?
Yeah.
Sorry,
September the 26th
yeah,
at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. So I will be there if you'd like
You will be there.
if you'd like to join me. Perfect. Thank you. I've got it.
Thank you for that.
Good.
For our correspondence, we have the letter from the Granville Ferry Causeway, and there has been follow-up, and then if you want to address that one.
Yeah, so we had a meeting with the County of Annapolis, the warden and the CAO, along with the staff from Public Works Department, just to, they let us know that they are in process of doing a evaluation of the causeway. And they have a timeline of March of this year for the report to be finalized. They will review the report and then they will share it with both the county and the town on their findings. And basically that's all they would commit to, depending on what the report finds, where they'll go from there and who's responsible. So at least there's traction.
Yeah. The tender's being issued in the fall, yeah.
Okay.
So that's where we are there. And that brings us to the deer issue that Ellie raised with us. So, over discussion.
Well, I thought her suggestion was actually brought up before. Did you bring?
No, it wasn't me.
Somebody's brought up the idea of having
A call?
a native hunt, calling
Yeah, you're right.
before and using them, or taking them as food bank or a split between hunters and whatever. And I can't see us not considering something like that. The dangers are just multiplied every year. And they're not going away because they're not leaving the town.
Yeah, it is an issue.
Let's not fence the highway and most of the properties like the gardens, like, I don't know how you're gonna remove the issue.
And they're going from one side of the town to the other side of the town. If you walking a dog as I do at night, and I'm sure you guys do as well.
You have to walk up, just gotta take them to the end of your driveway and there's like one looking at you.
Well, that's true, but just walking down St. George Street at night and, I'll be walking down the sidewalk and I'll see deer, say, in Paula's yard
Yep.
and cars are coming and it's dark and it's just waiting for the accident to happen.
Yeah.
So
There's been numerous accidents already, just that they haven't been severe enough to stop traffic.
So concerned about that, and then, of course, the point that was raised by the resident, our gardens are not safe. And yes, that seems like maybe a small thing, but it's important to homeowners. You put effort and money into maintaining your property, only to have wildlife come and devastate it.
So I'm not a hunter and I don't know how the licensing works, what the quota is, but does anybody know what the quota is for?
They can't,
Deer?
they can't hunt within,
No, not within the town,
Yeah.
but just in the county, for example, wherever they want to go hunting. Is there a quota? Is it 1 deer per year
usually it's a one per license.
per season?
And
License.
male deer.
A license.
Per license, and normally you mail it, I think they opened it up last year, for instance, for a certain number of does.
Only on certain days or something.
Something,
What's the
limited
regulations?
time within the hunt, you can go get a doe license, but it's usually you're looking for a buck. Most of the ones you see in town are not bucks. So, and then again, you're looking at how to do it safely within the town limit.
Yeah, so the population is increasing for the deer. And they're coming into town because they feel safe, because they're not getting hunted in town, or are they just coming into town to
Food
eat every
source.
week? Right,
I think it's a good food source for them.
I think in the letter, she also states that people are feeding them.
Yep.
So my only suggestion that I could come up with tonight is maybe that we put something in the newsletter asking the public not to feed the deer, but I know there's apple trees everywhere and
Mm.
I'm not sure
And hostas, everybody.
that hostas, right? But
Well, they eat holly, I mean, they just eat everything, don't they?
I think so.
You know, cedar.
Maybe we could just check into what Truro did and how they did it, because that's a municipal unit, and just find out more about what they did. How they went about it.
You talk to Lance and Boris or and see if there's an option or like, do they allow this type of thing? Do they allow a culling, or is it not something they do, or you're not moving them?
Well, they did in Truro, but with cooperation from First Nations,
But did the culling or move?
for the culling.
Yeah.
And yes, you're right, we should investigate moving. We should investigate all options, because there will be people with very, very strong
I know.
feelings on both sides.
Oh, definitely,
The
yeah,
systems, yeah.
it's a difficult subject.
Yeah.
Well, I think it needs to be addressed before we have a significant loss.
So
It's
we're
not gonna
agreed
be a
we should
plan.
get some more information on how it's been dealt.
I think staff needs to look at options and come back to council.
I agree, yeah. Are we okay with that?
Yeah, that's
We're
fine,
going to
we need to
take a
look at
look at
options,
this.
yeah.
Okay, let's do that. Great. Okay. And you have financial statements from, and thank you, the Annapolis and District Fire Society.
Yes.
Yes, so within our MOU or agreement that we have with the fire department, they have supplied their financial statements. That's just for information.
I thought somewhere it should be maybe in the notes, their financial statements, the town capital contribution, because it's not referred to anywhere. Maybe that should be a note, because we're now covering the truck under our capital program.
We have not included that in the.
I mean, in their notes.
Yes,
Okay, that's not in there yet.
no,
Okay. But there have been town contributions made, so there's,
yeah, they're just giving them back.
so the question of the 20 grand, where does the 20,000 go?
We keep it.
We keep it.
Yeah, so we kept it last year, we're keeping
So
it this
should there
year.
be a note about that they make, or should we encourage them to make some kind of note? Just asking,
Well, they wouldn't need to make a note in their financial statements if they're not holding the funds.
if it's coming from the town. Okay,
Yeah, because we're,
question.
we have to pay for the truck.
So we're just earmarking the funds. We're keeping the funds, we're just earmarking.
Yeah, just like we do for our.
It is mentioned in our grade.
We're gonna, yeah, and we're going to add the fire truck into the policy.
Okay,
We just
great.
haven't updated it yet.
With that, well, guess what? That was it. So the agenda being completed. Before we sign off or make an adjournment to go into camera, I'd like to thank anyone who's out there on YouTube. And I'm not sure, Kim, if you can tell us if anybody has been viewing it tonight. But anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for being there. And we'll entertain a motion to go into camera.